Today we will be comparing two organisms in the Metroid universe that may be considered as some of the most destructive and dangerous existence in the galaxy. Let me first start by introducing the X-Parasite, who made their first appearance in Metroid Fusion, first released in 2002 on the Game Boy Advance. These creatures are an inhabitant of planet SR388. Their original form may appear to be harmless floating colourful jelly goops, but looks can be deceiving because not only do these apex predators have a ferocious appetite, but they could clean a planet of all life within a short time span. But that's not the scariest part about the X-Parasite. What makes these creatures truly feared by even the Chozos is that when the X-Parasite consumes its prey, it has the ability to take on its prey's appearance and memories. With such an ability, no one would know who is a friend or a foe, other than the X-Parasite themselves. The Chozos became desperate to counter such a terrifying organism that the only thing the Chozos could think of was to introduce a new apex predator that is designed to prey on the X-Parasite. They are the Metroids. This should give you an idea of how truly dangerous the X-Parasites are. Now on the other corner, we have the Phazons, a blue biohazardous goop that first appeared in Samus' first 3D adventure, being the Metroid Prime, which was released in 2002 as well on the Nintendo GameCube though. The Phazon, otherwise known as the Great Poisons by the Chozos, originally came from the planet Phaz, are capable of corrupting anything it touches, and if it doesn't corrupt, it will poison the ecosystem to make it uninhabitable. The full extent of the Phazon's ability can vary depending on who it affects, as it can even corrupt spirits and creating a whole new planet altogether. Now that both combatants have been introduced, it is now time to compare multiple elements of these two species. We will be comparing the following, being their spreading capabilities, the potential disaster and damage they can cause to the galaxy, how deadly were they to Samus, their weakness, and ultimately, if the X-Parasites and the Phazon were to ever meet each other, who would win? Disclaimer, all of this is a matter of my opinion and are not facts in the Metroid universe at all, so don't be flaming me just because you disagree. First up, the infection capabilities. Let's start with X-Parasite. The X-Parasite were deemed as the most dangerous organism in the galaxy, that the Chozos were forced to create something even more dangerous just to counter such an existence throughout the games. We saw once the X-Parasite begins to infect the creature in an area, it didn't take them long before they took over the whole place. The SAX, running amok the BSL station, showed that within a few hours, the station was completely taken over by the X-Parasite. Same thing in planet ZDR, where once Samus opens the gates of the Loon, the X-Parasite rushed out, and in mere seconds, the whole planet was overtaken by the X-Parasite. Their speed of infection and spreading seems to almost have no limits. They are able to consume a prey 100 times of their own size in a matter of seconds as well, and they appear to be able to duplicate themselves infinitely at an alarming rate. But that's the thing, if they are able to spread that quick, why are they not an intergalactic threat? Not only that, it seems that no one really knew what they were until Metroid Fusion. It seems X-Parasite aren't able to travel into space at all, as they are a relatively unknown species despite their destructive capabilities. Guess this is why we found Ravenbeak all the way up in the sky of Hanubia, so the X-Parasite weren't able to reach him. The Phazon, on the other hand, are known throughout the galaxy. The Chozos, Luminoth, Galactic Federation, and the Space Pirates knew what the Phazon can do, and how it can clean a planet from all life. They have almost laid waste to planet Talon 4 and Ether, and the infectious rate is to be feared as well, as Phazon were able to spread to multiple planets at a short matter of time, being the planet Brio, Elysia, Norian, and the Space Pirate homeworld, through a giant organism known as the Leviathans, who are not only able to do intergalactic travel, but were also able to open wormholes for long distance travel. To put into perspective, Samus and the Galactic Federation had to use a Leviathan to travel to planet Phaz, the source of all Phazon, because their spaceship would take far too long to reach the destination. With that, it's a no-brainer which of the two species has the better infection capabilities. Though the X-Parasite can ravage a planet within seconds, the one thing that is stopping them is their lack of intergalactic travel capabilities. I mean, granted, if they take over a host that is able to travel intergalactically, then the X-Parasite would have fared a better chance. But even so, as said before, regular ship travels are slower than what the Leviathans are capable of. The winner of this round goes to Phazon. Time for round 2, the potential disaster and damage they can cause to the galaxy. Let's have a look at the Phazon first this time. The Phazon are highly radioactive, and being in contact with this organism will kill the victims within seconds. Even being in the near vicinity of Phazon will slowly but surely kill any living organism as well. Once dead, the victim's body will eventually be converted into Phazon as well, further aiding the Phazon in their spread. Those who don't die will be corrupted. The Phazon will eat away at the host's brain cells, transforming the host into a slave of Phazon, guarding and protecting them from hostile creatures. This corrupting ability seems to have no limit as well, as it can even corrupt spiritual beings such as the Chozo ghosts. Truly, if it was left alone, it will eventually erode all life away, one way or another, and if it fails to do so, it will mutate them into their slave. For the X-Parasite, they are much simpler. They consume their prey, and they take on the host's form and memories. It's as simple as that, but it's not about the modus operandi, it's the result from it. The X-Parasite can hide from plain sight as everyone second guesses who's friend or foe. No one can trust each other and chaos will break out just from the collapse of society. But what's even scarier to picture is if the X-Parasite were to take over a host that possessed immense political power or knowledge, they can then in turn use this newfound power to invade the galaxy. The Phazon may be formidable when it comes to their potential disaster, but the X-Parasite will cause a collapse in social structure, just from the mere idea that they could be living among us at this very moment. This is not even accounting on how fast they can replicate themselves as well, so this point easily goes to the X-Parasite. Time for round 3. The X-Parasite and Phazon are now even in score. But who will win this point? The topic this time is how deadly are they to Samus. Let's go with the Phazon again. When Samus first encountered the Phazon, they were acting like poison to Samus, but eventually she would harness suits that would let her be resistant to great poison, and even weaponize it to aid her quest. But with such great powers comes with great responsibilities, because even though the Phazon boasts immense destructive capabilities, if Samus used the Phazon too often, she risks getting corrupted by the Phazon herself, and eventually becoming the next Dark Samus. But that is a what-if scenario that is only presented in gameplay. Samus, true to her character, have never abused the Phazon at all, even when using it. Now onto the X-Parasite. Upon her first encounter with these mysterious floating jellies, Samus was struck by one of the parasites, and with no effort at all, it rendered Samus into a near-death state where the X-Parasite was consuming every cell of her body. Through the most advanced science, they weren't able to cure Samus. The only way Samus recovered from this situation is because the Chozos created the Metroids, who were designed to prey on the X-Parasite. By injecting the last Metroid DNA into Samus, they were able to counteract the X-Parasites eating away at her. But in doing so, this have changed Samus' DNA structure and her suit as well. This gave Samus newfound abilities to now consume X-Parasite, turning Samus from prey to predator. And it is for this reason that this round goes to the Phazon. You may be asking why. Even though the X-Parasite have placed Samus into a bigger peril than the Phazon ever could, it also gave Samus newfound abilities to become completely immune to the X-Parasites. This is not true for Samus with the Phazon, as she can still be hurt by Phazon, and using the powers too much will risk the chance of corruption. Therefore, the Phazons are the winner for this round. Round 4. The score is now 2 for Phazon and 1 for X-Parasite. Would the X-Parasite make a recovery from this point, or would the score widen even more? Let's find out with this next topic, being their weakness. The Phazon is certainly formidable as they are able to spread across the galaxy in a relatively easy manner, but with how widespread they are, it may also be their weakness, because Phazon's weakness are themselves. The term to fight fire with fire can be taken literally with Phazon, as the way to defeat Phazon is to use Phazon, as demonstrated by the Space Pirate and the Galactic Federation. X-Parasite's weakness, however, are the Metroids and nothing else. Metroids are the creation of the Chozo, the most intelligent species in the Metroid universe as we know it. If it weren't for their creation, the X-Parasite would stand at the very top of the food chain as the apex predator with no inherent weakness at all. If the X-Parasites are still alive, only Samus can combat the parasites, but she is the last Metroid alive as opposed to the Phazon that can be fought by any army as long as they are able to weaponize the Phazon. This round goes to the X-Parasite. Right now, they are tied dead even, but time for the final round. If both species were to ever meet, who would win a fight? The Phazon have scary destructive capabilities such as killing any surrounding living organism in mere seconds just for being in close proximity, and while that may prove useful against any other organism in the galaxy, the X-Parasite doesn't play by the same rules. We've seen the X-Parasite be able to live in the harshest conditions, be it boiling infernos or sub-zero tundras. The only thing we know that can kill an X-Parasite so far are the vacuum of space and Metroids. It was never stated that the X-Parasite needed oxygen or any air to sustain itself, and no form of poison seemed to work on them. Hypothetically, if they do get affected by poison, the X-Parasite could absorb a creature that is immune to the Phazon poison, so they too can become immune to the Phazons. And you know who are immune to Phazon? Phazon themselves. In fact, the biggest factor where the X-Parasite have an advantage over the Phazon is that the Phazons are an actual bioorganism and not some environmental phenomenon. What this means is that the X-Parasite can absorb the Phazon and take on its form and memories, giving the X-Parasite an edge by consuming the Phazon, becoming the Phazon so they are immune to it, and most of all, utilize itself to defeat even more Phazon, as one of the known Phazon weakness is Phazon itself. I'm honestly not too sure what the Phazons can do, as even if they do manage to corrupt one of the X-Parasites, with how fast X-Parasites multiply and how slow it takes for Phazon to take full effect, I'm almost certain the X-Parasite will just wipe their Phazons out before they can fully corrupt or kill all X-Parasite. So really, I think we got the winner for this bout, and it goes to the Objection! X-Parasite will only win in a unanimous victory in the Metroid universe if the game isn't called Metroid, but Metroids exist, so the Phazons can corrupt these creatures who are the natural predators of the X-Parasite. In fact, there is already a Metroid that is corrupted by the Phazon. This existence is known as Metroid Prime, later known as Dark Samus. We know that the X-Parasite aren't able to defeat the Metroids, be it at the infant stage, Omega stage, or Samus Aran running around, absorbing them like a child on a Halloween spree. There is no reason to think otherwise that Metroid Prime isn't the same, where it can just run into an X-Parasite to absorb them. What is even worse about Metroid Prime is that it possessed superior intelligence compared to any other Metroids, and that it possessed many abilities and arsenals that Samus owns. The X-Parasite also have their own version of the evil Samus, being the SAX, but it's very evident that the SAX does not hold a candle to anything with full Metroid genes, as it only took one attack from the Omega Metroid to render SAX to be incapacitated. Dark Samus are considered by many to be the strongest Metroid alive up until Dread, so there is no reason to otherwise think that Dark Samus wouldn't completely obliterate the SAX in a fight. So that easily makes Dark Samus the victor. And if Dark Samus is the victor, then clearly the Phazons are stronger. Instead, the winner is... Hold it! Okay, now what? So what if there's only one Dark Samus, and that there are at least 10 SAX, and possibly even more if they can multiply faster? Dark Samus could and would easily destroy them all anyway, so it holds no relevancy. Oh, it makes sense now. This isn't a one-on-one battle. This is a battle of which species would wipe out the other first. Dark Samus is very formidable, but there's only one Dark Samus. Sure, there have been many Phazon variant Metroids such as the Phazon Metroid and the Metroid Hatcher, but they are not Dark Samus. SAX have shown the capability to kill smaller and weaker Metroids, such as Samus when her gene mutation wasn't complete yet. All the X-Parasite have to do is to ignore the Metroids or avoid them until they located the sentient planet, Phaz, and destroy it. With the destruction of Phaz, it also comes with the destruction of all Phazon anywhere within the universe. The X-Parasite also have the tools to destroy Phazon and Phaz. It simply needs to disguise itself as Phazon and destroy Phaz from inside out. Even if Dark Samus is able to link up with Phaz, it likely wouldn't be able to discern the difference between regular Phazon or X-disguised Phazon, which is what made this species considered to be the most deadly in the first place. So with that, I would like to crown the champion of this bout to the X-Parasite. It was certainly very close, but in the end, the biggest weakness of Phazon is that even though they are not a hive mind, their life force is connected to planet Phaz, and with Phaz destroyed, so too will all the Phazon. The Phazon also provided the X-Parasite the tools to destroy Phaz, being the Phazon themselves. The X-Parasites, on the other hand, can and will go into hiding until the time is right for them to repopulate. In total, the X-Parasite have a total of 3 points, versus the Phazon with a total of 2, making the X-Parasite the winner. Do you agree with this? Perhaps even disagree? Comment below and let me know. While you're on the way, slap the like button and the subscribe button since you're here already.